In this tutorial, we show you how to create a procedural chain link. No matter how you adjust the curve at which the chain is attached to, you'll notice that it always ends up perfectly on either end. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. The first thing you want to do is select your default cube, press X, delete it, press Shift A, mesh, and we're going to make use of a cylinder. Press numpad 1, then we're going to press tab, edit mode, 3 to choose face select, select the top face, numpad 1 to be in front orthographic view, G, Z to lock to the Z axis, chuck it down to about here, press I, bring it in, press numpad 1, zoom out, press E to extrude, choose the height that you wish to work with, and you can have fun with this. You can press I again, E, Control B, press 2 for edge select, Alt, select all these edges, Control B, and you can scroll the mouse wheel up and down if you like. It's all depending on the style you're going for your pole. This looks a bit too sharp for me, Control B, and there you have it. We have our pole. Right, so now we're going to press tab, go into object mode, right click, shade smooth, object data properties, normals, and we're going to auto smooth by 30. There we go. I'm quite happy with this. The only other thing I'll do is press tab, go into edit mode, zoom out, press wireframe mode, make sure X-ray is turned on, select everything, press G, Z, 1, click, tab, object mode, solid view mode. And now the center point is at the bottom, which in my opinion is just neater. No reason. G, X minus 20. There we go. And now we're going to press Shift A, empty, plane axis. We're going to create a new collection. We're going to call this collection pole. And we're going to add this empty in this collection. We're going to call this empty has to be called pole empty. And the cylinder is going to be called pole. Chuck it in the pole collection. And with the pole selected, go to the modifier properties, add modifier, and choose the mirror modifier. And select pole empty. And there you have it. We've got one pole on either end. Now that you've done that, you can select your pole empty and press H to hide it. We don't need it right now. And we can create a new collection. This new collection is going to be called, I guess, procedural. Oh, my spelling is bad. Chain. Procedural chain, something like that. Enter. And the first thing we're going to add is Shift A, mesh, torus. Let's press numpad 7, shade smooth, tab, go to edit mode, press wireframe mode, make sure X-ray is turned on, and box select with your mouse half of this, press GX, bring it out to about there, which I think is 5. No, it's not, it's 2. No, it's 1. Well, actually less than 1 is better, to be honest. I think GX. That for me looks better. You decide what you like. Go to object mode, solid view mode, and there we have this beautiful chain. Only issue with this chain, if we compare it to the sides here, it's way too big. So I'm going to press H just to hide it for a second. I'm going to press Shift A, mesh, and I am going to add another torus. I'm going to press numpad 1, shade smooth, R to rotate, X to lock it to the X axis, 90 to make it 90 degrees, tab to go into edit mode, select half of this, make sure you've got X-ray turned on with wireframe mode. Let's zoom in here, I'm not getting it all properly. There we go. And then press, well, that's the wrong half. Wait, yes, that's the wrong half. I need to select this half. And then press G, Z, and just bring this down a little bit. Something like that should be fine. And if you want, you can do the same to the other side just a little bit. In this case, I'd have to do it on this end. G, X, there we go, that should be fine. And yeah, That's looking pretty good. Now select all of these bits here, press X, delete faces, press tab, go into object view mode, solid view mode, and press G and chuck this puppy right over here. Numpad 1, let's zoom in here, and obviously we want this to be a lot smaller. Press S to scale it down. Use your own eyes to decide what you think is appropriate. What you said, sorry. Choose where you want it. Give it an eyeball from far. And because we're in front orthographic view, it's going to be perfectly in the middle. G, X. Yeah, that should be more than fine. Then while you got this selected, hold in Shift and select the pole, Control J. Now everything is part of the pole, and we need to just change the auto smooth to 40. And it's looking beautiful, and it's on both ends. Perfect. Now we can go back to our torus here, which we're going to name chain. And we're going to press numpad 7, and we're going to keep in mind this size to decide how big our chain should be. So based on that, we're going to press S, scale this puppy down to, I don't know, about there, I guess. And then once you've done that, go to modifier properties, add modifier, add array modifier, turn that off, press Shift A, choose an empty, plain axis, rename this empty, chain link empty, and select your chain, choose your object offset, and select your chain link empty. Now you'll notice it gets larger and doesn't really make sense. So how we fix this is, with the chain selected, we press Control A, scale, now it's the same size, and always just go location and rotation as well, just to reset all of that so you won't have issues. Once you've done that, you can, for demonstration purposes, add this up to 5. Select your chain link empty, press G, X, and bring this out. And you can zoom in here for accuracy, GX. That looks pretty good, probably too accurate. And then RX90. And just like that, we have beautiful, perfectly inline chains. Next thing we want to do, obviously, we want to add a procedural element to this. So what we can do is press Shift A, curve, and we're going to use a path. With the path, well, now we're going to, the chain link empty, we can press H to hide, we don't need it. But this path, we're going to rename Procedural Chain Path. This is what gives us our procedural effect. So we select our chain, we add a new modifier, and it's going to be the curve modifier, and we're going to select our procedural chain path. And once we've done that, we can now select, well, we can also just for fun make this, I don't know, 25, and then we can select our procedural chain path, press tab, go into edit mode, and select, for example, this point over here. You can press G, and we can chuck it here. We can take a look at this to make sure it looks right. G, zoom in here, G. Cool, I'm quite happy with that. And we can do the same, well, let's just change the number of chains here just so we know what's going on, because there's too many now. I think it's more than 25. Object mode, select your chains, 520, I said 25, there we go. Select your procedural path, tab, go back into edit mode, select this other end, press G, and select, somewhere here. And what you could do is you could just press tab, go into object mode, select your chains, and you could just up the number here. But the problem with that, it wouldn't really give you procedural control over this. You have to modify this every time you reposition your chain. So for example, let me just show you what I mean. Let's say this is the length of your chain, right? Something like that. In fact, let's make it 1 over. That's the length of your chain. But watch this. If we choose our procedural chain length, press tab, go into edit mode, and we select this point here, and we press G, it's no longer reaching to the end of our chain link anymore. And that would be a problem. So the way we fix that is, let's press tab, well, let's press Control Z. Let's press tab, go into object mode. Let's choose our procedural chain, and let's change this to fit curve. And then you choose your curve, procedural chain path, and there you have it. Then we're going to choose our procedural chain path, press tab, go into edit mode, select this edge here, numpad 7. I'm going to press G, chuck it over, I don't know, somewhere over here should do. Numpad 1, G, and you can kind of work out how to do this best. That fits perfectly. Now with those two edges like that, you can still reposition everything else. So for example, numpad 7, you can select this and you can go, this goes a bit there. And you can take this edge here, this goes a bit there. And you can kind of have fun with this. You can go crazy. And it will always match one end to the other, which is pretty awesome. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Please don't forget to like and subscribe.